Below? Okay, fine. We are
Below.
going to Okay, we are going to start the session of our module 2. We are going to start the module 2 of our syllabus, right? We are going to start with first, we are going to see the syllabus, what we are going to study in module 2, right? In module 2, what we are going to study, we will have an overview of that and then we will discuss the topics one by one. Okay, so here in the previous module, we have seen what is water demand, what are the different types of water demand, why population forecasting required, what is population forecasting. Based upon the population forecasting, we are going to design our water supply system, right? That we have seen in the previous class. Now, we are going to have the continuation of our to our previous module number 1, we will be having the continuation. In our module 2, we will be discussing on what are the objectives of water treatment, why we need to treat the water, that we will be going to see. Then what are the different unit flow diagrams or the your water treatment flow diagram we are going to see. Then we will be seeing the significance of each unit, right? For example, we will be having screening, grid chamber, right? Screening, sedimentation, all these things, disinfection, chlorination, all these things we will be having. We will be seeing the advantage of each unit. We will be seeing why we needed to do that particular think when we are going to treat the water. Then we will be also saying the sources and characteristics of surface and subsurface sources. What are the different sources of water? That is, we are going to have the surface source as well as the subsurface source, and its suitability we are going to check it. Then we will be also saying what is sampling, what are the objectives of sampling, right? And then methods of preservation, the technique, how whatever the collected water sample we will be having, right? How we needed to preserve it. Sampling, why we are going to do it is, suppose if I want to check any of the, or if I want to check the water, right, water quality brought from XYZ place, right, if I want to bring it, right, there is a procedure to bring that water sample to the lab in order to test what are the different drinking water quality parameters are there. So what is sampling is nothing but it is the process of collecting the water sample for the water treatment, or in order to see what is the how much, what are the different parameters are there in the water. In order to check that, we will be utilizing some of the method in order to take that particular water from the source of water to the water lab, your water quality testing laboratory. We will be doing it where we are going to check the water quality. So the method of collecting the water sample from the source, and in order to bring it to the laboratory, that particular method we call it as a sampling. So that we will be seeing what are the objectives of the sampling, what are the different methods. Then we are going to see what are the different preservation techniques. Then the drinking water quality standards according to the Bureau of India standards, what are the different water quality parameters. Then what are intake structures, its types. Then factors to be considered in site selection of intake structures, what is aeration, right? The types and the two film theory. Overall, we will be studying, right? In our module 2, we will be studying regarding what are the different different water treatment units will be there and its significance, why, which process does what, right? All these things we will be studying in our module 2, right? So let us start without a delay. Let us start the module 2, right? Without a delay, we will be starting the module 2. Now, as we know, right, as we know that we will first see what is the importance of your water in your life, right? After your after the air, right, the most important thing that we consume is, right, the most important thing that for a living human being, right, what we require is we require water. After the air, the air is after air, the water is the most important thing that we require. Okay, now we will see how this particular water is going to be the important in the someone's life. We will see it now. water is a vital natural resource which forms the basis of all life. It is the most important thing that we require on this earth, right? After air, the water is the important thing that we require. Without water, we cannot imagine our life. It is one of the marvelous gift that has been given to us, right? And about 70% of the human body is consisting of water. About the 70% of the human body is consisting of water. Okay. Now, the bodies of all plants and animals which is going to contain water. Okay. It has estimated that the total water contained on earth is about, right, uh, 1385 something. Right. Now we will see what are the other things that are there regarding water. Okay. Now, 97% of the water on earth is salt water, as you already know that 97 of water which is present, right, which is on earth, which is present in a sea or ocean, right, we are going to have the 90% 97% out of it, right. Only 3% of the water is fresh water. Okay. And two-third of this frozen, and the two-third of this 3%, right, two-third of this 3% is present in terms of glaciers, right, in the polar caps, right. And remaining unfrozen fresh water is found to be mainly as groundwater, with only a small fraction present above the ground on the air. Okay. Now, on the surface of Earth, 70%, 71% is covered by the seas, and only 29% is occupied by the land. And you also know that the fresh water is a renewable type of water resource. Now, we will see how the distribution of water on the earth has been done. Just now, I have told that 97% of the water is present in case as your saline water, which is going to be present in the ocean as well as your seas. Right. Now, here 3% of water which is present, it is a fresh water. And out of this particular water, right, we are going to have around say 69% of the water is going to be present in case of your ice caps, and then around groundwater is almost around say 30 to 31% of the groundwater we are going to have. And in this, right, only 0.9% of the water which is present as a surface water. Okay, out of this particular surface water, right, we will be having, right, we are going to have 0.3% of the surface water source. Out of this 0.3% of water surface, we are going to have 87% in the form of lakes, right, and again 2% we are going to have in the form of river. Right. Now, we have seen what are the different sources of water. Now, the sources of drinking water that is available for us, we are going to depend on, right, the two, that is surface water and the groundwater. The water that we are going to use for drinking, now rest we all think sea water will leave, glaciers which we will be leaving, right. We will be concentrating our study on the sources of water. Now, before going to the sources of water, we will see how the hydrological cycle is helping us, right? How the hydrological cycle is going to help us in order to, right, in order to get this particular water. We will see how the your surface water is going to help us in order to have this. Okay, now we will see, we will concentrate our study. I think this particular thing is, you know what is hydrological cycle, but still I will just overview it. Now let us concentrate our study on, right, our study on this hydrological cycle. We will see how we are going to see, right, how we are going to have this hydrological cycle. What is hydrological cycle? We will see it. Okay, you know it already, but we will see it once again. Now, you know that already the water is present in the form of, it is present in the form of ocean or sea, right? 97% of the water is present in the form of the ocean and the sea, right? Now, here, whatever the ocean is there, sea is there, or rivers are there, whatever it is there, see here you are going to have 97% of the ocean, we are going to have the rivers, right? Rivers and all these things. What will happen due to the temperature, right? It is going to evaporate. Due to the temperature, it is going to evaporate and it is going to be form in the having the it will result in the cloud formation. And due to the condensation of the cloud, right, we are going to have the precipitate. Now, when this precipitate is going to uh, come on the Earth's surface, right? When this precipitate is going to come on the Earth's surface, again we are going to get the water. Now, we will be having the certain amount of water out of this precipitation. The water is going to fall on the land, right? It is going to fall on the land, and out of this particular water we will be getting some amount as a groundwater, and we are going to have the some amount of water as a surface water, right? Here we are going to see the surface water which we have, right? And here the water which is going to be get percolated in the ground, we call it as a groundwater. So basically for drinking, we will be utilizing this surface water as well as this groundwater we will be utilizing for our drinking purpose. And again, due to again the water, some of the water, it is we are going to have the groundwater flow, right? Here we are going to have the groundwater flow, and there will be some deep percolation will be there. Here the groundwater flow will be there, and this is what the deep percolation will be there in the ground, right? And again, some again we are going to have the your vegetables and the plants, right? From this also the water is going to get evaporated. We constantly call this as an transpiration, right? From water bodies we call it as an evaporation. Then from the vegetable, whatever the water content is going to get evaporated, we call it as an evapotranspiration, right? So again surface flow, again from the sea, again the water is again some of the water is going to get flowed into the ocean or the seas. So this cycle is, it is continuously it is going on, right? This cycle, it will be continuously it will be going on. That is the reason why we are getting sufficient amount of water on the ground, so that we can lead our day-to-day life. So this is regarding your this is regarding your water cycle. Now we will see some of the other important factors which are there with regard to the drinking water, right? Now directly we will come to the sources of water we will be coming to. Now, as I have told, we are going to have the two sources of drinking water is available for us. One is, right, the surface water, the water which is going to be flowed on the ground level, we call it as a surface water. The water, after having the precipitation, it is going to be percolated in the ground, right, which is going to be percolated in the ground. This particular water, right, we call it as an groundwater. The water which is available to us on the surface, we call it as a surface water. The water which flows into the ground, we call it as a groundwater. So these are the two sources of water that we are basically we are dependent on for drinking, right? So surface water will be having these many of the classification, that is lakes, ponds, streams, rivers, right, and storage reservoirs, right? I'll repeat: lake, pond, stream, rivers, as well as storage reservoir will be, right, our sources of drinking water. These are, we call it as a surface water. The water which is present over the ground level, we call it as a surface water. The water which is present below the ground level, we call it as a groundwater. So we are going to have tube well, artesian wells, springs, right, and the infiltration. The open wells, tube wells, or we call it as a bore wells, artesian wells, springs, infiltration. These are nothing but the different sources of groundwater which is available to us. So we are mainly dependent on these two aspects, right, for the drinking water supply. Now, what makes us necessary to have the water treatment? Now, before going to the surface water thing, right? Now, what makes us the water to treat, right? We, as these water, we are dependent on this. But is this water is directly drinkable? Yes. Can we consume this water directly?
No.
Any replies? Any replies? Can we consume this water directly?
No, sir.
Why?
No.
Why we cannot have it? Why we cannot have?
It contains impurities.
Yes. Now, as you can see, right, the water after precipitation, it is going to have the contact with the soil. right? It is going to have the contact with the soil, and you already know that not only it is going to have the contact with the soil. See, various grass, various different elements will be there on the earth surface. So whenever the water is going to have the precipitation, and whenever it is going to be collected on a surface, or either surface or either a ground, right? So it is going to have the contact with the earth surface, or it is going to have the contact with the soil. The soil will be having the different kinds of micro elements will be there in that. So this particular water is having the different kinds of the micro elements will be there, which may be sometimes it is visible to our eyes, sometimes say microbes. If the microbes are there in that particular water, we cannot able to see it with our bare eyes. So the water has to be treated before we need it to, we are going to drink it. So that is the reason why this particular, the contact of the rainwater with the ground, right? Or we, in this particular surface water also, we will be doing some of the some activities. Our activities also will make the water polluted. So directly we cannot either drink the river water. Sometimes we can depend on the groundwater, right? But directly we cannot have this particular surface water. Even though if before consuming the groundwater, we should know, we should check the what are the different water quality parameters it is going to have. If the standards, the water quality standards, if it is in the proper level, then only we can able to consume the water which is present in the ground table also, or the groundwater also. We should test it and then we should consume it, right? But both the water, without testing we cannot consume it, but your normally your surface water will be having some of the impurities. We need to treat it before consuming. We cannot directly consume this particular surface water. That is the reason why we should treat the water, either surface water or groundwater, due to the say if we are going to have some of the industries, right? And if we are constantly we are going to throw the wastewater at that particular moment, then the water which is present in that particular area, it might be getting polluted with the different kind of impurities which is there in the which is going to be get percolated, and it is going to enter into the groundwater. So the groundwater should also be tested before consuming. Directly it should not be consumed. Okay, so this is how the water quality parameter is going to be important. Before consumption, we should know what are its water qualities. Okay, next we will see what are the different important things that we are going to have regarding the surface water, right? Now surface water is a water on the surface of the planet, such as river, lake, wetland, or oceans, right? Ocean also we should consider it as a surface of water, but it is not a source of drinking water. Okay, we can treat this ocean water by the desalination also, but it is a very costliest process. That is the reason why normally we don't treat this particular ocean water. But desalination is an the ocean is going to have the salt content in it. So in order to remove that, we will be following the method called as a desalination. It is a costliest method. So that is the reason why we don't treat the ocean water. It can be contrasted with the groundwater and the atmospheric water. Now, non-saline surface water is replenished by the precipitation and recruitment from the groundwater. It is lost through the evaporation, seepage, right? All these things has been already told to you. Now, the lake, right? Lake, ponds, right? Streams, and the river. Normally, your lake. Now, lake is your in between the lake and the pond. These are the two stagnant. These the river water will be continuously, it will be flowing. But if you consider the lake and pond, right? The lake and pond is the smallest form. Lake is the largest, right? The pond are the small ones, and the lake is the larger one. Okay, as compared between the pond and lake, the lake is having the larger size. Okay, now the pond and the lake, as these are stagnant water, right? It is also a source of water, but if it is a stagnant water, the air circulation, the oxygen content in this particular water will not be probably proper, right? But if suppose if you are going to have, if you go And if you do some activities like washing of the animals, taking and swimming, right, all these water, it makes this, right, not fit for consumption. For example, if you wash the animals, right, animals, they will urinate, right, they will leave the excreta. And if such water, if you are going to drink, definitely we will be having some of the waterborne diseases, right. And the oxygen transfer, since it is a stagnant water, the oxygen transfer between your atmosphere as well as the water will not be proper. So whatever the waste or whatever the fecal material or the biodegradable element, if you throw anything, right, we are having the habit of throwing anywhere, right? Throwing anywhere, the waste material also sometimes we throw, right? So if biodegradable element are there in this kind of a stagnant water, right, they are going to degrade, right? They are going to decompose, right? So due to the decomposition, again, it is going to give the bad smell, and again, it may be lead. It is going to lead towards growth of the some of the microbes, right? And if we consume that kind of a water, definitely we are going to have some of the waterborne diseases. So this kind of a water, the lake and pond, we can have that water, but the oxygen transfer between the atmosphere will not be proper since it is a stagnant. Right. Then if we come to the rivers, right? Normally, we will be utilizing these rivers as a source of water. Why we are going to utilize this rivers as a source of water is, right? Again, here it's catchment area very, very large, as well as the huge quantity of water will be there. That is the one thing, right? And since the water is flowing, right? Since the water is flowing continuously in the river, right? The oxygen transfer, when it flows, right? When the water, just a minute, when the water, I'll show you with the help of diagrams. Now, this is your river water. It is continuously, it is flowing, right, from one place to the other place. It is, if it is continuously flowing. Now, this is the oxygen transfer. This is the oxygen transfer. It is continuously, it will be there. And since due to these undulations, the when it is going to flow, right, there is the water will, there will be continuous undulation will be getting created, right? You can see the flowing water will be having the bubbles in it. So that bubbles is nothing but it is going to help to have the oxygen transfer well between the atmosphere as well as the water. So it is due to this flowing water, right? Due to this flowing water, the oxygen O2 content will be delivered properly to the surface water bodies. But right, but if you consider this in case of lake or pond, as this is a stagnant lake, your lake or pond, since this is a your lake, right? Now here the water will be stagnant over here. Now the water will be stagnant over here. There will be no movement. The air bubbles will not be getting created. Since it is in the movement, the air bubbles will be created. But here, what is going to happen? Since the water is stagnant, only the upper layer will be having the some circulation of the air with the atmospheric air. And here the self purification process will be less. Right? What is that self purification? Self purification process will be less. But whereas here, in case of your river, thing is going to come into your next semester, that is regarding the self purification you are going to study in your next semester. But still we will have some brief idea what is self purification processes. Suppose if I this is your pond or your lake. If I have the washing of the animals, if I wash the animals in this, right, here, since the water will be in a standard, in a, say it is not flowing. So here the circulation between the air and the between the water and the air will not be proper. So here there's a chance of the water is going to be remain as it is. But if you wash the animals in the rivers and all, since the continuous oxygen flow is there, right? Again, after might be here, if you are washing the animal at this particular portion, might be till this particular portion, the water is impure. But once it starts to flows a larger resistance due to the oxygen transfer, the river water is going to have the capacity to again purify itself. That is due to the oxygen transfer, right, with the water, right? What may happen? The water may purify itself. So water on its own having its purification process, we call it as a self purification process. There will be more self purification will be there in case of your river water or in case of a moving water rather than the stagnant water. So self purification will not be there in case of your ponds or lakes. So this is a thing what is going to happen in case of your lakes and ponds. That is the reason why we will be utilizing these rivers as a source of water. Why we are going to utilize the rivers as a source of water is the catchment area will be huge, and it is also going to have the self purification process, as well as here there if you wash anything due to the continuous movement, right? Due to the continuous movement, there will be a good amount of oxygen supply will be there in this kind of water. But again, we cannot drink this particular water. The water has to be treated, right? We cannot drink the water, any form of water. We can have the lake and pond water also, but it should not be polluted, right? Rivers, we can use it for the larger extent, but it has to be treated before we are going to use it. So this is your the surface water. Now we will see the one more the important aspect, that is the groundwater. Okay, we will be utilizing the groundwater as a source of water. Now, what is groundwater? The water which is going to present beneath the earth surface, right, in soil pore spaces and fractures of the rock formation, we call it as a groundwater, right? We call it as a groundwater. Now, this is your open well, this is your tube well, then artesian well, and then infiltration gallery. So we will be using the open wells, and we will be using the tube well in order to drink this particular water. Okay, now we will see how the groundwater is going to flow, right? How the groundwater is going to flow in the earth surface, right? Now, here the pink color right here, it signifies the soil moisture, right? The blue color, it represents the groundwater, right? And here the dark blue color, it is a deep percolated groundwater that we can have. Okay, now here, right, now here how the water is going to flow to the groundwater. Okay, now here after percolation, right, since the soil is going to have some of the pore spaces, right, it is going to have the pores inside it, right, when it is going to flow through these particular pores, right, slowly it is going to getting percolated, and a huge quantity of water it might be get stored, right, and the in the form of the well, right, in the your open well, how you are going to get, whenever there are too many kind of springs, right, you are going to have the too many springs. Just a minute. When the water is going to flow into the water into your ground, right? Suppose this is your surface, right? And if your water is getting percolated over here, right, this is how your water is going to be get percolated. It is the rainfall water that we are going to get, right? This is the rainfall water what we are going to get. Since the water is going to have some of the pores inside it, here there will be some of the pores inside it, so it is going to be collected as a groundwater over here. It is going to be, this is your ground level, this is your ground level, right? From ground level, the water is getting percolated into your ground. Now, since the water is going to have the pores inside it, your ground is going to have the pores inside it, and your soil is already enriched with some of the salts, right? Say you can say calcium, magnesium, right? So calcium, magnesium, any different n number of salts will be there in your groundwater. So you can see that the groundwater quality, the if you intake the groundwater will be having some taste, right? Now the taste is due to those salts and minerals. The groundwater will be normally it is going to have some taste in it. Why it is going to have some taste in it? Because when it is percolating from your it is getting percolated from your ground surface. While percolating, it is in contact with the soil is enriched with various of quantity of salts and minerals. So this particular water, whatever you are going to get in the form of a groundwater source, right? Groundwater you are going to have, right? It is enriched with the salts and minerals which are present in the soil. So that is the reason why it is going to have some it is going to have having some taste due to the salts and minerals which are present in it. Okay, so this is with regard to the groundwater. Now, the this main source of the groundwater is a precipitation, either surface water or either your groundwater. The main source of water is your precipitation. Can we directly drink the rainwater? Can we directly drink the rainwater? Yes. Can anybody tell me? Can we drink the
Yes,
rainwater?
sir.
Yes. Can we drink it?
Yes, sir.
Directly you can drink
Yes.
it. Yes.
No, sir.
There will be pollution will be there in the rainwater also or no? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So you can you drink it directly?
No, sir.
See, when the air, I'll tell you, when the precipitation is going to occur, right? This might be it is the water is we are going to have the clear, right? But suppose if we are going to have the precipitation is going to occur in the too much heavy industrialized area, right? And if we are going to have the larger chimneys, right? The chimneys of say around 90 meters, 100 meters chimneys, suppose if it is there, or if it is a heavy polluted area, right? No, leave about the industrial area. We will consider the polluted cities, highly polluted cities. Now, whatever the effluents that vehicles or say your industries are going to live, all these molecules or the pollutants will be there in your atmosphere, right? Now might be your precipitation to that what you are going to get is a good water, right? But when it is going to come while traveling to the land, what is going to happen is it is going to be mixed with the different particulate matter which is going to be present. Might be it is having the carbon, right? So when it is going to, it has to travel a large distance, right? When it is having the precipitation in there, it has to travel some distance. So all these your particulate matters, it will be there in your atmosphere. It will be there in your atmosphere since this is having going to have some moisture. As you already know that the dust is already it is going to be it always attracts towards the moisture content. So when the precipitate is going to occur, right? If you even though you are you are suppose if you are holding your rainwater into some say utensil, right? You cannot directly drink that water because while traveling through the air, right, it is going to be mixed with the different particulate matter which has been left by the various vehicles and the industries, right? Then so you cannot drink that particular rainwater directly. Okay, now suppose if you are living in a very clean say areas where there will be no population, right, but still there will be some amount of particulate matter will be there in the air. It is going to be mixed with the moisture, right? Can you drink now rainwater? Can you drink it directly? Yes.
No, sir.
Yes. Why? Why? Why you cannot
It
directly drink?
it it contains dust particles.
Yes, it contains the particulate matter. You cannot say only dust particle. It is going to have some of the particulate matter. It might be carbon or it might be any of the thing that might be there. So you cannot directly consume the precipitation water. Might be it is pure, but might be it is good, but it is going to be mixed with the different types of pollutants which are there in the air. So you cannot directly drink the groundwater, directly drink the precipitate water. What about groundwater? Groundwater, yes, of course, you can have it, but before having the groundwater, you should test the water quality parameters. Rainwater, we should treat it, right? So wherever suppose the contaminated, suppose you are having the ground, you are living in an industrial area where the wastewater produced from industry, if it is living at that particular, at one particular place, now the borewell of those particular water has to be tested and then it should be drinkable. Any of the groundwater, it should be tested and then it should be after testing only you can drink it. If the water quality parameters are there in the required limit, then only you can drink those particular water. Okay. Now uses of water, we have already seen it. What are the different uses of water? Right, consumptive use, that is irrigation, right, domestic use, industrial use, institutional, public, non-consumptive, that is navigational, recreational use, hydroelectric, and then the different sources of water. Now, we will have the overuse of what is an overuse of water, and then we will see that in the next class. Now, the important thing that we should have in nowadays is, right, this rainwater harvesting, right? The rainwater harvesting nowadays is very, very important. Right. Now, it is not there in your syllabus, but still you know about the rainwater harvesting and all, but still we will have a 2 minute talk on this. So whatever the precipitation is going to occur, whatever it is going to come on your slab level, we are going to store this particular water. We are going to have it in for garden use. We can have it, or else we can store it into the groundwater and we can have the recharge of groundwater. Suppose if you are going to have here, we are going to have the soak pit, right? We are going to provide one soak pit over here. From this, we can have the groundwater recharge, and ultimately, if you are going to have the well, the groundwater table is going to increase, and you can consume this particular groundwater. Right? So here we are going to utilize it for the gardening. Here we are going to give the groundwater recharge. Right? Again, you can utilize this water for car wash, garden. Right? So what will happen? And again, here you are going to recharge the groundwater, right? Which will be, again, you will be utilizing it as a source of drinking water at the end, right? So this is how you can reduce the water wastage. Even you can use the water for WC, right? And all, you can do it. Here you can save it into the tank and you can have it into the WC. Some part, whatever you are going to get, you can store it as into the soak pit, right? And even you can use it for the gardens, car wash, all these things you can do. The rainwater harvesting, it is a need of the hour now. Okay. Do you have any doubt till this particular thing, whatever we have discussed? Do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. We'll meet for the survey class within 10 minutes. We'll enter into the survey class at exactly at 1:25. Is there any doubt? Please let me know if you have any doubt. Yes. Any doubts are there?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Speed is okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. We will end up the session over here and we will start with survey class at 1:25. Thank you.